So I'll call our meeting to order, and Kevin, if you'd call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Here.
Mrs. Sweet?
Here.
Mr. Bear?
Here.
Mr. Whitaker? Mrs. Fogel?
Here.
Mr. Hannah?
Here.
Council does have a quorum, so please join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the regular session of the Enon Village Council. This is Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021. Any additions to our agenda this evening?
Quick blurb for communications and a motion to excuse Mr. Whitaker for the evening.
Okay, Mr. Hander, under communications, and we have a motion on the table.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
And that motion is approved. Minutes of the Tuesday, November 9th, 2021 meeting. Those have been presented to council, and if you are satisfied with their contents, we would
Slight
entertain.
clerical, on the back page, the second line down, we need to correct Mr. Whitaker's name. That's a very minor spelling error. Other than that, I'd move them.
And I'll second.
Okay, so with that correction, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
And those minutes are approved with the noted correction. We'll go into finances. Our cash summary by fund report. $197,000 in the general fund. And we did have the $15,000 that transferred out of there and into that third line item with the federal grant. So we only owe ourselves $110,000 in that fund now. So that's good news.
I feel so much better.
Street fund, $52,000. And of course, the ARPA funds, $125,000. Our police levy, $230,000. Water operating, $72,000, and of course, $200,000 in that contingency for a grand total of $779,082.22. On the revenue side, if you look at your revenue status report, on that first page, the general fund, we are 112% collection-wise, which means we've collected a little over $30,000 more than what we had anticipated. And let's see how we're doing on page 2, street maintenance. We're about 96% there, so we're doing very good there. And let's go to police levy. That's got to stay about the same. Yeah, we're just a little over 100% there. That'll probably remain the same through the rest of the year, unless we happen to get something miscellaneous that she would receipt in. On the last page, water operating, we're about 90% total of what we anticipated collecting. For the appropriation part, that status report, the general fund, on page 2, we have spent about 81% of what we had appropriated. So we're in good shape there. Street maintenance and repair, on page 3, we're about 92%, so we're right where we should be. And Kevin, it looks like that we are done with all of our obligations for the paving and stuff, right?
Correct.
As far as bills go. Okay,
Correct.
good deal.
Yes.
Thank you. Police levy, and we'll go to page 4 for that total. We are about 89% on expenditures, so we're good there as well. And on that page 5, we have the water operating, and we'll have to go to the back of the page. So we're about 89% there. So we're really in pretty good shape. Overall, for all of our village funds, we're about 88% as far as expenditures compared with what our appropriations were. So we're doing a good job there. We're in pretty good shape. I would like to bring up one item that has been a topic here the last few payrolls, and you guys can jump in and help me, but we've had some glitches. Now, we had a payroll system. It was called CPS, not sure what that stood for. They sold out to a larger company called ADP. I guess they're very well known nationwide. We didn't know that was happening, correct?
Correct.
So they sold out, and we've been having payroll issues with different employees on different payrolls. I know there was an issue with mine, and maybe somebody on council even had an issue. Laura and I had a conversation last week about it, and she said, Tim, would you give me the opportunity to do the payroll? And I explained to her, that this had worked out well, but she explained to me that the new UAN system has some advantages, that it will track that vacation time, the sick leave time, it'll track the comp time, and it is connected to the pension systems that where we report, and we can use that UAN system to do the reporting instead of her having to do it manually. The bottom line is she would like to have the opportunity to take over the payroll beginning January 1st. We currently pay $150 a pay, which is $3,900 a year, which is very reasonable. She would do the payroll, including the vacation, the sick leave, and all that stuff, for $2,500 a year, and use the UAN system to do it. So I told her that I would present this to council. I think it's worth, because of the fact that we've had some problems with this larger company, I think it's worth us giving her a shot. That's my 2 cents, but I wanted to see what council thought.
Would there be a backup person in case she'd be unable to do her duties at a particular time? Unfortunately, if an illness or vacation or something came up like that, will there be somebody that would be that could step in and fill those shoes temporarily?
We would have to figure out who that person was, Rick, and make sure that vacation, that kind of stuff, something that's planned typically isn't a problem. I know it wasn't with our former physical officer, but an unplanned absence that we would have to designate somebody to fill in.
Yeah, that's my concern is we never know what's in front of us, but there needs to be some type of redundancy there to be able to cover
Sure.
if something unforeseen happened.
Any other comments about the idea of her taking the payroll over?
Does she do that at the other place? Does she still work
Yes,
at
she
the other?
does. She does, and she did it up in Macomb as well,
Macomb,
because we were on the UAN system up there, and so she's very familiar with it. If there's a problem, I mean, she's right here or within a phone call now, but I mean, just saying, I got confident in her that, she can take right off and do it again, so.
Here's the one advantage that she explained to me. She can generate the pay, I don't know whether it's the actual pay stub, but you could actually make sure that your pay was correct before a check would be generated.
Correct.
And evidently she does that at the other places that she is performing those duties.
We get it to her like on Tuesday. We still have 2 or 3 days if there is an issue that she can correct before it hits the bank, basically. So
I was a little disappointed, though, that this company had sold out and didn't say anything to us. We didn't really have an opportunity to do anything. And I know we've had a couple of employees that have been shorted, some pretty
substantial.
pretty good amounts.
Yeah.
But in any case, I think it's worth trying. I think Laura's done a good job, but I wanted to see what the rest of the council thought.
Is there any fear, or whatever you call it, leaving the company that we're with now?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not
Good.
that I've seen or heard or anything like that. So
And do you need a motion for us to?
I would like one, yes.
So moved, however you want to state it.
I'll second.
And any further discussion?
Do
Okay,
you want
call
to do an effective date off of that, whether,
January 1.
okay.
Make it nice and clean.
And of course, we'll notify ADP.
Yes. Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I think she's going to do a good job, and I think it's going to be a lot easier when we have discrepancies that we can get them worked out prior to anything compensation-wise, checks being issued or whatever. And the fact that she can get that vacation leave and sick leave tracked for our employees is going to be extremely beneficial. So I appreciate it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Will we need to do paperwork to have automatic deposits?
No.
Okay.
Good question. Okay, well, Jason, you are up this evening under presentations, and you've been working on a project that I just thought it was important for council. You and Kevin have been working on this. Just a real quick history. The past few years, I have asked our water department to be thinking about getting our distribution system on some type of a GIS mapping system. The EPA is very heavy on water systems for maintenance of valves, hydrants, flow testing, and this would be a way for us to track what we have in our system. It would be a good way for us to be able to report, document, show the EPA what we're doing. And we've kind of danced around it for the last few years, and finally it's like, let's get something done. And you guys have done a great job, and you came up with a plan. And I'd just like for you to share it for the council this evening.
Lights down.
Well, again, evening council, mayor, this is something, again, we've been working on for a while. This program we are using came about with Ohio Rural Water, who is a small community assistance program. They use a online database or cloud system called Esri, very well known, I guess, in the GIS software. With the equipment we are using is called an R2, and that unit is within 6 inches of accuracy. So we're using, the satellites coming down, and when we pinpoint, the red you see on there is actually, we've started with fire hydrants, will be the first thing we are going to start locating. But these fire hydrants then are located within 6 inches of an accurate point off of satellites. If you can go ahead and click on one of those. So we've got somewhere around 50 of them started so far, but basically we have an asset number that we will be able to identify each fire hydrant with that'll correspond with our flushing schedule, is the way I've decided to do it. So this is considered OE, which is Old Enon, and then we start with, hydrant 001, 002. There are just under 300 fire hydrants in our system. Then you'll have a location for each hydrant. So Enon Road at self-storage. The manufacturer of the hydrant, basically the brand or model of number. So if we need to order parts, it is a 129 traffic model, 4.5 inch riser is what that stands for. Basically, if you need to order parts or have a problem with it, there's no more going out looking at the hydrant. We're going to have all this information on one document. The initial install date, working on all that, they actually want you to put a real date and time. So he said there's some changes we can do to that. We know that date or that hydrant was put in I think it was 91. I'll go back. We've got pictures of some stuff, but they want a date, time. So I'm going to have to make up January something of 91 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, we're gonna have to go through that. None of that's gonna be
Oh, it's
real.
2:30.
Exactly. It's like, okay, so we'll be going through all that.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Life expectancy.
The life expectancy, estimated age is approximately 30 years now. I think you can scroll down, can't you?
Yeah. Estimated age, remaining useful life.
Yeah.
Accessible.
So it's not scrolling on theirs though.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. So again, accessibility. Do you have access to the hydrant? Is it operable? The size of the main feeding it is a 6-inch. We can have nozzle size, flows, static pressures, where the watch valve is. It list goes on and on for what you can do with this. Does it need painted?
Condition.
Condition. Then in the notes, we've actually put where the watch valve is. So the watch valve is 2 feet to the front. And we've actually taken a picture of everyone as we go for access. Those valves or the watch valve that shut the hydrants off get hidden pretty easily with construction, gravel, the sod will grow over top of it, but it gives you an idea with that picture of where those actually are. And then we have old cards that access to each one of those hydrants over the last 30 years where we've flushed or repaired. We're able to take pictures of those and keep those old documents and records along with it. And this can be done with any asset that the village owns. So we're going to start with fire hydrants. We will, once that project's done, go do main valves throughout the entire system. Once main valves are, we can do our water meters. For the street department, we can go do all the storm sewer, outfalls for all those.
It's pretty much endless. We can do streetlights, you can do trees, you can, if you want to keep a log of anything, basically. And you just take the reader out and set on it, and the GPS takes over, and it just. And naturally, they like Jason said, we got to come back and rainy days or a good winter project is come back and get all this information, the data inputted. That's going to take the longest. But once it's in there, it's like it's going to be really convenient to.
Living document, so anytime you're changing, you got to go back and change things. Main breaks would be another good thing. When we have one, right now it's a guess. Where was that at? Once we've repaired this, we can come back the next day, kind of shoot exactly on top of it, and you'll have an idea.
Have pictures.
And
of
take
the-
a picture of it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
take a picture of it and keep that log where if you, in the future, we've had 10 main breaks in this area, we know it's time to maybe look at replacing that section of pipe. So, kind of zoom out if you can. So it kind of shows the entire village and area. We've got approximately 50 of them done so far, almost all of Old Enon.
There's all the ones you've had done is turned.
Yeah, the ones that are turned red. Every part of this has layers. So if you look on that left side, those are some of the items that they have preloaded as far as main valves, water towers. So eventually you can look at everything at once, or you can start pulling like we're doing now. We're only doing the fire hydrants, but you could pull the fire hydrants and water mains and connect the water mains together by size and be able to do a mapping of our entire system too. It's all pre-built into this system instead of paying our engineers who've done in the past, our engineering firms, to build those maps for us. This will kind of be automatic. Once you change it, the mapping is done.
And what's being
So-
used to locate those things?
It's called an R2 unit from Trimble, but it's on a pole
Like a satellite,
and a
uh,
satellite
receiver.
receiver. The whole thing's maybe 4 or 5 pounds, and you just kind of walk and hold it, and you're using your, I don't want to call it a tablet, I guess, to
iPad,
communicate by
yeah.
Bluetooth, and
Right.
you're just pinpointing that I want that taken now at that particular spot.
And then roughly, what's the cost for this service?
The cost for the service is $500 a year to be able to use their Esri online system.
And the cost of the
The equipment
R2?
was about $4,500. The first quote we had for a company to host, which is what this is considered hosting your equipment, was $15,000. if I remember.
$15,000 a year. And then the equipment, brand new equipment, we got it used. We got this one used. It's a couple years old from EJ Prescott, wasn't
Yep,
it?
EJ Prescott.
But new equipment was anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000, so.
Now, that $500, that's an annual fee that we pay to who again?
That is to this Esri. And that basically, it's just like our water program. It's hosted, so it's live and interactive and changing. So we shouldn't have, like we had with the old meter system, we own it, and once it's so old, it's no good. They will just update this at their will.
We don't have to worry about any.
We don't have to worry about anything. It's being hosted, and then Ohio Rural Water also keeps a hard copy of everything we do in case we lose data. About once every 3 months, they compile all
So
their
they're
stuff.
hooked up with the Ohio Rural Water Association.
They are.
Now I got it.
They are.
That's why it's all okay.
Yep. The first year, the first $500 year is basically that included your training, using all their software and all to allow us to start doing this. But yearly fee is still $500.
Pictures, are they relatively real-time, or are they just as Google updates, or whatever satellite that they work with?
It should be real time because I'm capturing those as we're there.
So now when the EPA comes in, once you, and of course, in my mind, it's like, well, you can have this done over the winter. And then you started showing me the page and all the stuff on it, and it's going to be obviously a longer project. But when the EPA comes in, this is going to be part of our asset management, which they're really big on. It's like, look, this is what we're doing. You got to identify your assets first. These are our assets. This is what we're doing. Here's the proof that we're doing. Oh, you want to see a picture? Here's a picture. Okay, I like it. I like it a lot.
The wells, everything eventually will be on here. So again, if anybody has any questions, they can. This will be a living document. Open it up, and it's just changing.
I just didn't
So-
envision anything that.
And,
Detail
anybody
or
can
whatever.
get on the Esri website and view it, once all the information's in there and stuff. But there's only a couple of us that, has the capability of getting in there to make changes naturally.
Gotcha.
But, you can view it from your phone or anything like that. So once it's all the inputs in there, yeah.
So you'll have probably the hydrants all done by the end of the year as far as actually having the points form put in.
Basically, what you see there now is honestly, it's only 8 hours worth of work of what we've done so far. So it's time consuming because we still haven't put the information in for all of them. Probably only did like 6. But as far as getting the pinpoints, that's about 8 hours worth of work. So 2 weeks maybe to collect them all and then
Wow.
come back. And so really, if you got on it, I think by the end of winter, we will definitely have the hydrants done.
That's great.
So that's definitely my plan. So
Am I correct, Jason, in assuming that basically these are superimposed? You have a Google Earth shot, and then your R2, is that what it is called?
it's called an R2
Okay,
receiver.
and then your R2 picture is superimposed on that Google shot from wherever you had that picture taken.
Pretty much,
So you have
yes.
your Google shot, and then this is where this goes on that. So it's kind of superimposed on that, and that's
By,
what,
by latitude and longitude,
and
it's
that's what you're seeing on there
yes.
is kind of a combined shot of that, and then that's hooked up to a database where you put all your peripheral information as to when it was installed at 2:31 on the 1st of January,
Yeah.
1990.
Again, but right now, the records. It's unfortunate, but how some of these records are so scattered.
Right.
This file's got hydrants, this file here got
Yeah.
valves, and sometimes it's takes a lot of time to figure everything out.
No, it's gonna
This will be
it's gonna
one-
take time to do the.
Doing it
The data
right
side.
is what we're looking for. So on the data side,
Right.
so
And the one part about the brakes, you mentioned the brakes. How many times have we sat down and said, okay, we had something here, but I can't remember what it was. And then you go back and you get an old Polaroid. We kept a book with Polaroid pictures in it. And then you look at, but you can't quite get it all matched up or lined up. This right here is going to be just perfect. I mean, it's going to give you that exact location. It's going to give you the picture and any other information that you would put in with it. Instead of having to rely on these old mines, somebody down the road can click on that and say, aha, this is what they had to
Here's
deal
the
with.
size of the pipe, here's
This-
the type of the clamp that they used, things like that.
Yes,
Here's a picture of the clamp.
Exactly right.
To take it with you when you go to those sites and you do your
Absolutely.
fixtures. You got to take that
Yeah.
R2 thing with you. Here's where the problem is. When you're going out to fix it, I'm going out and
Well, it'll become part of our daily routine. It's the same unit we're using to read meters with, even if we go out and read 1 meter for the day. So this tablet, I think, is going to start becoming part of our daily
right.
routine. You just have it in the truck. I think it's going to be wonderful installing new water line. You always estimate, where is that T? Where is that 90? You guess.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to do that anymore. We can actually pinpoint and shoot over top
once
of
you
it
know it
once it's
first
in.
time, right?
And be able to draw our lines and
Never thought
everything
about
else
that.
then. So there are a lot of benefits. I think it's going to be a great program. It's going to take a while, but we'll get there.
You said they're backing up hard copy, but are you backing up somewhere too, just in case?
The fact that it's
It's cloud-based.
cloud-
cloud-based,
okay.
there's not much I can do.
Cloud-based, got it.
So, but the Ohio Rural Water has an on-site system that they can. So,
Just a quick question, not really about that project, but looking at the truck parts place and the garage down there, do we ever check to see if there could be groundwater contaminants that may be coming off of that area back there, or is that something that we?
they are in our drinking water source protection
Yeah.
area.
Right. I just by looking at that, that's what I wondered about, seeing all those trailers and everything they had back there, if there was some possibility of that.
Well one would be the closest monitoring well that I would have.
I'm just throwing that out.
Right.
When I looked at that, I thought, nah, that looks like in that bottom could be a concern.
Visual, drive-bys or whatever, I know we've done those in the past. I don't know whether every once in a while, and correct me if I'm wrong, from the Wellhead Protection Committee standpoint, we actually make site visits and actually on the property and to see, it's like, hey, what's going on? Who's your contact? That type of stuff. So I know that happens, like every 5 years?
Yeah,
7
three to
years?
5 is the closest, but
Because of just what you said.
Yeah, that just hit me when I
So,
was looking at that.
same with Speedway, CPEX, anyone within that area we do, but again, it's not.
Because that back corner on the east, back behind where the trailers were, that's a natural low spot back there, I think it would.
And there's the creek that runs right through the back of that property too. So all those
Mm-hmm.
properties.
Sorry, I just saw that and it crossed my mind.
When's the last time it was checked?
Was it 2 or
They
3
did
years
it-
ago?
They
you
did it
guys an
right
update?
after I came back, and I've been back 4 years now. So
So it's probably due.
probably due three anyway since we did it.
Well, that's a great looking program, and I don't know a whole lot about that stuff, but it looks like we got a lot more than what we were just anticipating just for water stuff. I didn't realize it was that detailed, but it's going to be good, and it's going to be very beneficial to the village. And the more you use it, the more things you're going to find that you can use it for. So, well, good job.
Thanks.
Any more questions? All right, we'll go into communications. Mr. Hannah, I'll turn it over to you. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you.
Just a quick little comment about appreciation of my fellow council members. And 2 weeks ago, tomorrow, when we showed up in mass, basically to the Clark County Commissioners meeting, and everybody has jobs, and we appreciate the fact that if you weren't there with us, you were there with us in spirit. So several of us got up and did address the podium, and it just so happened that we don't know exactly what may have changed the path that appeared to be predetermined, but it wasn't for us not trying. We'd like to thank John Burr for putting on a very effective presentation and countering several questions that were hastily directed toward him. He showed a lot of backbone and a lot of the old term moxie when he was put in a tough spot. But again, the village of Enon represented well down there. I think we don't know what tomorrow may bring with that whole situation, but on that particular day, and the Clark, or the Mad River trustees, two of those were there, Mr. McClure and Mr. Pettit. So again, for everybody that went out there, thanks. For those who didn't, we passed along our messages for you. So thank you.
That was a tough day for John, but he handled it very well. And I want to echo the appreciation. He believes in that project, and
Well, no, I know he does. He got testy there towards you know.
Back
That's-
his neck was red as can be. I said,
Well,
oh,
the-
my.
the backside
He
was, yes.
It was starting to get hot.
yeah.
Had he not, I don't think we'd have been in that same situation. So had he not as forcefully supported that program, I have no doubt that those funds technically would have been rescinded at that point.
And he did send out his appreciation to the village for showing up in support as well. So just to let you know. Thank you, Mr. Hanna.
Thank you. I'll be sure to pass that along when I see John at the TCC.
So we had our first meeting with the Green Local School District, and Rick and I met with Dennis Henry, the school board president, Mr. Kanapke, and the new treasurer. Rick, help me out there.
Garth,
Whitaker, yes, thanks, Elmer. We welcomed him to the district, and we had a really nice conversation, and we talked about several topics. We did talk about the Enon Xenia project. We talked about the potential for a school resource officer. So it was good communication, and we've already set the next meeting for Friday, January 21st at 1 o'clock at their location. And we thought it would be a good idea to include the township trustees or trustee. So I did reach out to Bob McClure, I think it was yesterday, and he thought that was a great idea. So he's going to pass it on. Of course, Bob will not be there after the first of the year, but this was just a good beginning discussion about just some general topics, and we'll just give reports as we go along and see how things evolve. But I thought it was very encouraging, and Rick, I think you felt the same way. And we've got a lot of things in common with that school being inside the corporate limits. And we seem to be on the same page with a lot of the ideas and things that we talked about. So it was a good meeting. That's the bottom line. And we've already got the next one scheduled. With that, Kevin, I will turn it over to you for administrative updates.
All right, thank you, Mayor, Council, residents. Just a few updates here. I did have a pre-inspection with, I forget his name now, but he's from Clark County Building Department on the house we are getting ready to demo. He just wanted to come and make sure that all the utilities was disconnected, and he had to see that for himself. I did apply for the demo permit, which it's laying on my desk. So everything's taken care of on that aspect of it. The contractor, PG Excavating, is going to be here Monday morning to start demoing. He said that they're probably going to bring some dumpsters in on Saturday. So if you see people driving down in there and dropping off dumpsters, things like that, that's what they're doing. They're getting ready to start the demo work on Monday. So
Did Mike ever get a chance to use that or any of the other police departments ever get a chance to use
he
that?
said
for-
none was interested or nothing came about it. So I told him, we'd be getting it demoed pretty quick, So yeah, if you get any calls, any activity down there, that's kind of what's going on. So
And Kevin, can you make sure that we just notify just as a courtesy, just notify those property owners down through there and say, look, here's what you're going to expect to see. And you may see some dumpsters come in over the weekend. You may see this or that. And just as a courtesy, I'd appreciate it. And I know the council would.
I can
And I
do
know
that.
they would too.
I can do that tomorrow. Yep. Got some good news from the ODNR. We did get conditionally awarded the funding for the nature work grant in the amount of $43,500. That has to go to the controlling board of the ODNR. Once it passes through there, then I will be getting a project agreement that needs to be signed and sent back. So usually if you get the letter, you're pretty much going to get funded. So that's some good news. And that was for the walk path, fitness trail, whatever you want to call it, down there at Enon Park.
Congratulations. What was the amount on that again?
$43,500.
Thank you.
So, and I did get Mr. DeVore came in today and filled out, just to let you know, filled out a parade permit to close Indian Drive between Main Street and Indian Mound on December the 4th. So I will get that. I think since Mike is gone, maybe you can sign that so we
Sure.
can get that back to him. So,
You guys want to look at it, make sure everything's in order?
yeah.
Sure.
So, Doug's got pretty much all the Christmas decorations up. There's a couple wreaths that I've got to help him with, getting the bucket truck and get them up for him. So he's not too keen of heights. So that's fine. That's fine. No big deal.
You would think he'd be used to it after all these
Yeah.
years. It's like,
So no
please
big
tell him that Sellers Park looks great.
He's doing a whale of a
It
job.
looks,
Yes, he
it
is.
looks
Yes, he is.
wonderful.
So I will pass
Yeah.
that along. So, but other than that, everything seems to be going pretty good, pretty quiet this time of year. So kind of winding things down. So trucks are ready to for snow or whatever, little snow.
What's your language?
I know.
man?
I know it's so.
Those nasty four-letter words.
So I think that's all I have for now, Mayor.
Okay, good report. Any questions for our administrator?
Yeah, a couple, Kevin.
Yeah.
In anticipation of trying to be a good neighbor at the demo, do we have the availability for water or to get water there fairly quickly? Should we start having a lot of dust or things coming off of the demo of the building or
Is there
the
a
house?
hydrant or anything near
It
here?
is, but we really don't allow people to tie on to them, whether it's for us or not. I don't like that idea. There's the water service there that we could figure something out.
Yeah, because I don't want that to be, that's going to be a interesting situation to make sure that we're good neighbors down there.
Yeah, okay. We'll figure something out and have it ready on standby or something, yeah. So.
The second one, should we go ahead and make the motion pending the chief's approval for Indian, because we probably won't be back in here before the date of the parade? Would that be prudent to do?
Sure.
Are you aware what the event is?
It's the
The
Santa.
tree lightning Santa
Right.
thing, yeah. It's
So-
not really a parade. But the street does need to be closed for Santa's arrival.
But normally we'll go ahead and get a motion to close that
Okay.
particular street, but again, it would be pending the chief's approval.
Yeah. Yeah, he has to sign it, yep, or the mayor.
So I'll move that.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes, and if you can pass our appreciation on to them for what they do with that.
I think that's all I have.
Anything else? Any other questions for our administrator? Or Jason, since he's sitting there tonight? All right. Well, we have no committee reports or old business or new business. Is there a comment from the public? Okay.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Everything.
It's same to you, same to everybody. So with that,
Motion to
Happy
adjourn?
Thanksgiving to
Happy
everybody,
Thanksgiving.
and without a motion to
Yeah,
adjourn.
without Jeremy here, congratulations, you get to do it.